Stop me if you heard of this before. You and everyone on Earth is dropped in front of two buttons. The red button, nothing happens. But if you push the blue button and less than 50% of people push it, then everyone who pushed the blue button dies. But if at least 50% of people push the blue button, everyone lives. So which button do you push? Welcome back, everyone. The puzzle that I presented here has existed in some form or another, but it got popular when Mr. Beast made a post asking, and the internet lost its mind. Father against son, daughter against mother, houses divided are now falling. It's chaos in biblical proportions. It actually came up in a Discord group I am in, and it got heated, like really heated to the point that people got blocked. And to be transparent, I initially picked red, but now I'm not certain, but I'm still leaning towards it. As it was happening, though, I had several insights into not a way to answer this problem, but how I might dialogue for a different problem. There are several things I want to dive into. The first is how this problem is not highlighting what many people think it is, and how it can actually help us realize how pro-life rhetoric sounds to another person. First, how is it often presented? It's often presented as if this problem is already solved. As in, one should obviously pick the blue in order to help ensure the guaranteed safety of all, instead of just yourself. It's presented as a means to be able to determine the moral character of another individual. If you pick blue, then that means you care about others and are a good moral person. If red, then you are selfish and actively working towards dooming those who pick blue, instead of doing what you could to help them. The problem, in my opinion, is that it's not as clear-cut as that. The Catholic Church, while expressing objective morals, acknowledges that situations do exist where there is not a clean answer, and as such, you can make a choice for yourself that is permissible, even if undesirable. For example, a woman is pregnant and is diagnosed with cancer. She can either take the treatment, which will be such a strong dose of radiation it will kill her unborn child, yet she herself will live, or she can delay the treatment to ensure the child is born, yet now her odds of the treatment stopping the cancer so she can live is now slim to none. The church states that there is no wrong answer here, as in, this is such a difficult situation and there's no clear or best outcome, namely one that saves both lives, that whatever the mother decides is permissible. In Catholic teaching, this falls under the principle of double effect. The two-button situation is similar, as are any trolley problems that are presented, and it's why I don't like them, as I feel they miss the point. They are presented as if they should have a definitive answer, but they don't. It's meant to inspire conversation to help explore what values people hold and inspire self-reflection. Is the person that picks red an evil, immoral monster? No, nothing is wrong with desiring self-preservation. There's nothing wrong with refusing to sign up for the military, and we have people pick the red button all the time, and it's not an issue. Catholicism itself states that if we are negligent to our responsibilities to ourselves, even if it can help another person, we are not being prudent, which is a virtue we are called to strive for. So what this problem is meant to help us explore isn't the moral character of those around us, but what is the limit of our willingness to offer ourselves up for another? Now, listening to my Discord friends that picked blue defend their position and justify why others should pick blue, it started to sound familiar. When the conversation came up, people picked blue started arguing against people picked red, like myself, and the language they were using sounded very familiar, talking about how we need to pick blue to help make sure children who didn't understand the situation wouldn't die. That we need to risk ourselves in order to ensure that these children are safe if our actions could help even one of them. That it's our responsibility to make sure they are taken care of. This made me start to notice a parallel between what was being presented and some of the rhetoric that is used in the abortion debate, which I found ironically funny because the people making these statements were pro-choice themselves. Now, I don't think they were being hypocritical for picking blue, as many of them are pro-choice because of bodily autonomy reasons. And in this situation, bodily autonomy has already been removed. Although, now that I think about it, I wonder if that same critique would still work for the violinist analogy, since bodily autonomy has already been removed in that situation. I might need to revisit my video on that. And now, thus, Regardless, this isn't a true one-to-one for the abortion situation, and I think it is possible for a pro-life person to pick red. Much like the mother I talked about earlier is morally permitted and justified for picking to take the cancer treatment that would end up killing her child. The reason I bring this up, though, is that those arguments were not convincing to me. And if they aren't convincing to me in regards to this button question, how on earth can we expect them to be convincing to others? If you are like me and picked red and are pro-life, listen to some of the arguments used to convince others to pick blue. If you feel like they are crazy or are missing the mark, that's how we sound to pro-choice individuals. If we want to move forward in the dialogue in regards to abortion, we need to understand their concern and their arguments and work within them. We are starting in the middle of the conversation instead of addressing the priors that lead to that conclusion. When we start in the middle like that, it causes us to talk past each other. So take a step back, look into yourself and look at what priors you hold that lead to the conclusions that you have and how you arrived at those priors. That is where the conversation needs to start. Not on the abortion topic, not on the button one would pick, but what values one has and if those values are justifiable. Thanks for everyone for watching. This idea literally came to me in the middle of the Discord conversation and I just had to get it out there. So my thoughts are still a little messy on the button topic, but I do hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment what button you picked and why. No judgment. Like I said, it's my opinion that both are morally permissible. Looking forward to next time.